on now, take it back and just keep us in it. So obviously we had that interruption where the camera decided to turn itself off. He's still pumped, full of adrenaline. That's his nature. He is quieter and he is being more obedient. Now I might, because we're now 5 minutes later really, aren't we, probably. Now I might begin to nurture that quiet state of mind, but it has to be as quiet as that. So if we get back on what we were sort of talking about before that camera went off, most of the people that we see do this. They give their dogs far too much poor quality attention, and a lot of it is highly positive, but it's very motivational, so it pumps the dog up. So if you've got a dog that's already predisposed genetically towards being a highly aroused dog, then your input is just only going to add to that. Most people would, and this would go for nearly everybody with a dog, most people need to focus much more on being quite calm and cool and controlled. And what happens when we get dogs come in to stay with us is, and I probably said this to you last week, the quantity of our attention goes through the floor compared to what they were getting at home. But the quality of that attention changes, it becomes better quality. We'll also be adding some of the bits that are a bit like negative, but are they really? Because they're producing positive outcomes in the dog. You're not doing the dog any favours tapping into that negative feedback loop, because things will just go from bad to worse, and in the end, for a lot of these dogs, it's untenable. You just cannot carry on. There's no outlet for them, and they will end up on the vet's table being euthanized, because they can't go on being aggressive, because aggression generally grows. So it starts off at a lower level and it gradually, sometimes it's imperceptible, but occasionally it's imperceptible, and then you have a giant leap, then it's imperceptible, and then you have another leap, and then you end up with this bloody dog that's just flying around, taking control of the house and likely to bite anybody if they upset him in the wrong kind of way. So you have to be able to produce the quietness, and it needs to become something that is able to be quiet for longer and longer and longer periods of time. And the reason we use this leash, I won't leave it on the floor for long. If you work with this leash properly, doing the things so that I've just shown you, I mean, I pulled him twice, and we're probably 10 minutes later now with a dog that's quite sensible, well behaved, well mannered. We can nurture that quietness. It all it's the speed of it. So sometimes people say to me, how hard do I pull it? I'd say, don't worry about hard, worry about fast. Okay. If it's fast, there's a snap to it. It don't need to be hard, it needs to be fast. It snaps the dog out of that moment. If it's helpful, say no. Sometimes don't say anything, just like you just need the behaviour pattern that his inappropriate targeting just needs to become unproductive and unrewarding. And it can be rewarding just through the chemicals it's releasing within the dog itself. That's the problem. So this lead, if you work with it like we've sort of suggested, then in the house there are times where you can just do that. Unclip it from. If you have been doing all the prior work with that lead, that leash now acts as an inhibitor, and he will be generally quieter when he's wearing that. You can't leave it on forever, but you have to identify those moments in time where it's useful to do that. You just got to be a bit firmer. I mean, that's probably the top and bottom of it.
In theory, this sounds great, but what we've experienced is different. When he's in that growly state, you cannot snap out of it. He's had his lead on, we've been yanking it, and it just riles him up and up.
Yeah, but you've probably not done it consistently enough, and you're probably letting him get to a too pumped a level before you start trying to interrupt him. I'm interrupting like low-level behaviours. He never gets to that level. You get to a point where a dog has lost the, if you're not careful, dogs get to a point where they lose the plot. So a different kind of dog. So people have dogs that have, they'll say my dog's like nervous and aggressive and nervous and reactive. Sometimes I sort of talk it through like this to a person. Some of the behaviour patterns are a little bit like a panic attack. If you can nip that panic attack in the bud, right at the point it's emerging, you can deal with it. If you let it become full blown, now that dog's irrational, the brain's shut down, and you're trying to communicate with a dog that is shut down. So people sort of say, well, look at that dog, he's shut down, because they sort of think shut down's like that. But shut down can be the other end of the spectrum where they're just a nutter.
So we are doing the right thing. When he starts to sort of growl a little bit, we should be, if he's got the lead on.
Yeah, but it's like fuck.
In his bed.
Yeah, possibly,
That's
yeah.
where he does it.
Yeah, but with him, I think with him, he'll kind of, because we don't know, there's a possibility that he's medically unwell, and we're talking about dealing with a dog that is irrationally aggressive sometimes with some type of rage, you know, that can't be fixed. It can be managed better if he's aggressive in the... Did you get a crate? Have you been putting them in the crate?
We're getting one.
Yeah, you need a crate, and that needs.
He's good at going and settling and chilling out.
Yeah, but the crate, you see, you can sometimes just do certain things. So you want to make it. It needs to be his only bed, right? And sometimes you put him in the crate, and you should shut the door. Absolutely. And when you shut the door, there should be a positive aspect to the door being shut. So he should maybe have a Kong with some frozen meat in, or peanut butter, or give him a bone, or some.
It's not a punishment.
So it's not a punishment, and it just becomes like his safe space, and it can be a way of managing those episodes where he becomes, unstable and dangerous. Really, there's no other word for it. At those moments, he's unstable, he's irrational and dangerous. But bloody dog ain't moved for 10 minutes for the sake of two. Fast.
I think that's what it is. We're just not doing them sort of sharp enough.
Yeah.
Hard enough.
And he's even given up whinging now. You know, the last sort of 5 minutes, I don't think there's barely been a whinge.